Now, you were saying you knew George?
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, well, I knew of him. Nothing personal, just on a business. Pretty much everything on the business level. But, yes, I knew Mr. Garridan. My notes were saying, when I was born, he was 56 years old. So,
And that's Marin Garridan.
Marin Garridan. So my recollection of him as I was growing up, I was pretty much still an adolescent, growing. But my memories of him was he was a very stern business person. I can remember him in some of the meetings that he would have. Why that recollection came in, it was probably because the presents that he brought, to the table, pretty firm. I can remember that. Probably maybe scared me a little bit. So, other than that,
In what context did you deal with him?
oh, it was a little bit distance. It was just I'm sure that he knew I was the son of one of his primary foremen, in the ranch. And I think because of that, even though there was distance, there was still a connection. And, I can remember that. Other than the working part of it, there wasn't, because I was too young. Some of the things that we both can recall in his later ages was driving in from town, coming by the house, was he was always cleaning, sweeping up, keeping things nice and tidy. That house, that area was immaculate. It was just totally manicured. And I'm sorry that I don't remember Mrs. Garrigan's name, but she would always make connection with me because I would catch the bus to school and I would come home, and I remember her flowers were the tulips. And yeah, anyway, she would make connection when I walked by, and I could remember that. Um, so that's kind of what it pretty much is with Marin Garridan.
You said that he was always cleaning things. He was always taking care of things.
That's correct. The other note that I made was because of that value and the appearance of things. When you knew which ranch was Mr. Garridan's, it was the same way. Everything was clean, no weeds in the rows. And that I learned because I ventured out. My uncle was a contractor, and as I got older, I did contract work with him.
I've noticed that people who only can pass judgment from afar on the work that gets done here, they have this idea of the ranch owners as being like southern plantation slave owners, but I don't get that impression. Like, people that I talk to, like you, Mr. Garridan was out there sweeping and cleaning and working. Like, they weren't just idly sitting by while other people worked, were they?
That's absolutely correct. I made notes that I can remember Mr. Garridan coming to the ranch and connecting with the men. But Lou Garridan was more the connection with the men. He was more the hands-on guy. I can remember him during the picking time. I'll never forget
He didn't wear a shirt.
No, he liked to be
Out in the wind.
out in the wind.
And he was,
He was buff.
wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's something I can remember. And I mean, it was, you know, just a conversation of what you have to remember that I can remember. I was the only 10, 12-year-old starting to work with him in the fields. So obviously they knew I was there, and they would make that connection.
Did you ever see anybody else pull off the Lou Caritan? The old right arm, left arm? Or was that,
He owned it. Yeah, nobody, I don't think anybody even tried.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember Marty's sister telling us that he injured himself a couple times, like out there doing real work, and that's interesting to me. You have a pride of your association with them. What in plain speech did you like about working for them?
Well, you know, at the time, it was what it was. I was there growing up. The question, I'm sorry, give that question again.
What did you seem to respect them, and your anecdotes support that, but in plain speech, what did you appreciate about working for them? I mean, we've all had bad bosses where we're like, that guy's fat and lazy, jeez. But what did you appreciate about working for them? Were they kind to you? Did you respect them?
Well, it was total respect. You know, your perspectives are change as you're working in a situation as compared to being away from it and then having your own experiences in life. And I guess the best way that I can answer that question would be the after I moved away and realized all the episodes and things that happened. For instance, number one, yeah, I gave you the about Mr. Garrigan was so manicured and everything he did. Everything had to be that way. So hopefully, I think I took that away from him. The other thing that I made the note that I definitely didn't want to forget, it was that Mr. Garrigan, I understand this very much, how he laid the foundation for this business and created the longevity of the business, which is obvious as it's handed down. I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry.
It's okay, don't worry. I'm doing the same thing. Georgiana had to slap me around a little bit today.
But the other things that I took away, because you know your mind just goes to, I'm going to the man, I'm going to the Mr. Garrigan, you know, it's just try to bring everything in one perspective. I'm just gonna simplify it here.
Sure.
With my notes. What hard work did for me. If I had a choice in my life, I would never, ever
That was stellar.
Yeah.
That was a great, great recollection. That's an excellent approach you took. The description of the rows was tremendous.
Yeah. That was-
Yeah.
But you clearly
Do you need
like-
water?
No,
Just talking
it's
water?
my lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you wanna take a break for a minute?
No, I'm alright. I'll let you know.
Okay.
We're leaving out. Mila.
Oh, me what?
Yeah, I don't wanna forget Mila.
They shared an office, right?
I'm sorry.
They shared an office, right?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I
Tell-
read.
Tell me what you did know though.
Well, we'll go back. You know, Mila was, I mean, sorry, Lou was more of the, hands-on. He was the visible. And what I remember with Mila, I think he tried to take after his dad. He would come in like the general. And, very short, very businesslike. But I think that was kind of his makeup, his personality that I've always known. It wasn't anything he was trying to do. That was just his personality, very short, very direct. And, but he was not in the field working area. The only time I had a little more connection with Mila is when I worked right there in the box area. We had a little bit of connection. So, that's pretty much it. I mean, we know him a lot better when I had my business. My wife, Lydia, she went to school with Judy. So, we kinda had a, I know you type of a thing.
What was your business?
It was called Delano House and Glass. We supplied, where I had the connection, we supplied a lot of that paint materials for the grape industry, whether it be cold storage, redoing the ranch paint, whatever, and of course, glass replacement, that type of thing. And I, ventured into floor covering, which I still do today. I owe a lot of that understanding of learning the foundation from here into that business, believe me.
Wait a second, you said, what year did you say you were born?
1939. I worked in went to school in Bakersfield. I worked in Bakersfield for 5 years. I started as a delivery boy. Long story short, I ended up being a sales rep. And I got to know a lot of people making the rounds. And, a owner of a body shop here in Delano talked me into going to work for him in the glass. I said, glass? I don't know anything about glass. So I worked in the body shop for a year. We built the building. I worked for him for 5 years, bought the business. Stayed there for 5 years. I bought property on Main Street, built my own building, and had a very successful business. And in the 90s, everybody forgets, we started having a little depression. The big box stores started coming in. And I think about it, all my life was go type A, Excel. And hardship for me was I didn't know how to decel. So I finally closed the business in 95.
But it didn't mark the end of you. I mean, that was over 20 years ago, and you're still kicking tail out here. So
You know, I'm doing more. I ventured into institutional sales. I do multiple facilities, banks, schools, hospitals, multi-housing for housing authority. So my job is, like right now, I told my wife, oh, I can remember
inspired. I need
Yeah.
to do more of my life church, yeah, but we've discussed that already. You, did you ever see them overcome hardship like that? Did, or do you think they had it easy?
Oh no. You know, I go back to the, you don't know until you, how do you explain what a broken arm feels like? You know? No, I realize a lot of that here again after the fact. You know, let's talk about the grape strike. This was kind of the end, and now whether they've grown, we had our business by then. I mean, I had went, even because of my name, and my uncle's name, they were kind of one side or the other, the grape strike, but, I mean, there was vandalism, things going on, so I can't even imagine what they went through during those times. But, I mean, when you're dealing, when I had those meetings, when I attended some of those meetings where Mr. Garridan was there, it was always wages, conditions, and things like this. And, those are some of the notes and things. I mean, I go on forever because there's so many facets, you know. What I'd like to bring in is, when we first moved in, I don't know, is there any photograph history of the ranch at all?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, what I remember, and I have some pictures, and they were bungalows, little individual bungalows in the very beginning. And, I don't know how old I was when we finally, my mom, I can't imagine this, there's a white lady among all these Filipinos, but that shows you about these men. They watch them obviously took care of her. There was that outside shower, outside restrooms. I don't know if she did it until finally they moved my dad into more of a formal house. And I even drew pictures of what I remembered where everything was located. Originally, I've got it on Google what the original layout was. I looked at it and I said, "Oh, this was here, that was here." And so we finally moved into a living room, bedroom, and a kitchen. So it was a three-room house. Had a heater, had a cooler, but it didn't have any bathroom facilities. It was still outside. So I'm gonna guess 5 or 6 years later, Mr. Garridan. I get gassy when I start talking a lot. They finally added on a bedroom for myself, a washroom, thank God, a bathroom with a shower. I mean, it was like heaven. And, that was so great. Some of the things, that I can remember, you know, some of the notes that I have. I don't know how long you want me to go on with this thing.
This is great. Keep
Yeah.
going.
I mean, as long as you're comfortable.
I remember when I started working, I had to be, I know I had to be 12 or 13. And, it actually wasn't with Mr. Garridan. There's a ranch on Browning, that Frank Herrera, which was our mayor in Delano, that family had a ranch. It doesn't even show it on Google. And, he had brothers that were my age. So, obviously I connected with them, but I
Yeah.
That olfactory recall, that's one of the things that is most strongly associated with memory. So,
Yeah, that. And the house we had, the vineyards were 50 feet away. And when the spray rigs would come, I could still remember the sulfur smell. And I think the pesticides were more like a mineral smell. And I thought, oh my god, I mean, we used to inhale that stuff.
but you're doing great. So, I feel pretty good, like, about my chances right now. That's good. But there's all kinds of things that could get to you, ultimately. You said something about the strikes that I wanted to follow up on, about people taking sides. Like, even if you weren't a farmer, it was divisive. Like, you were on one side or the other. Is that what you meant?
Well, I think my dad wouldn't take sides. Obviously, this was his family, and I knew he didn't take sides. So my dad actually wasn't even a part of it, but my uncle was the more exposed Verona in Delano. He belonged to some of the social
Elks Club.
things like that. Yeah, it wasn't the Elks, but anyway, so to go back a little bit, my dad came over first, and he brought my uncle. His name was Yul Verona
From where?
from Manila. Oh, I mean, from the Philippines. Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Anyway, he came over the same way. They basically left the Philippines, and they majority migrated to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii it was sailed to Frisco. That's kind of the route. But anyway, the story I got, my dad worked and supported my uncle, and he went to BC, and he got an education right there at Bakersfield High School back in the 30s sometime. So he had the physical education, and that's where he progressed in being a very successful labor contractor way back then. And so to answer your question, so because of that, I think my uncle kind of took the other side of it. That the Filipinos needed some organization, that type of thing. We're here because of the family-orientated atmosphere. I don't think they felt like they needed anything. I think they felt like they were taken care of, if that makes sense. Where a lot of them that worked piecework, they would jump around and be individual, so there was no unity.
But that's kind of the nature of that part of the labor force, right?
Yeah,
To be more transient.
right. Exactly. I mean, to some point, when there was no work here, you had to eat. I mean, we would go to Stockton. I remember that, the Biggest Americas. I remember there would be a horse that would draw a sled, open sled, and you would pick the asparagus, and you would have two rubber bands. I mean, a rubber band tied to each thumb, and the purpose of that big rubber band made out of an inner tube. I remember they would save all these inner tubes. I'd wonder why they saving these inner tubes, and they would cut strips. And the reason why is so that you could hold a bigger bundle of the asparagus, and you would stack them and as you go along. And then my dad would go along with the sled. Oh, I'm sorry, he was the one that would pick up and he would stack them in the sled and take them to the
Cold storage.
cold storage warehouse, whatever. But I was a little guy.
But you still thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, never got
washes out. So don't be afraid to say, I think the young people missed out on the physical part of it. You know?
Yeah.